Shalom Laha Alahayim. Nawathan, Kol, Halalium, La, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Ha Kodash. Peace to the gods, giving all praise to Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors into the elder apostles, the elder bishops, and the head elders of all the Camp Great Millstone GMS who do rule well. Salutations into the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David, scattered abroad. Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. This is going to be a quick hit through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai. We're going to get into it. All right, so as y'all see in the topic, ex-Russian president predictions for 2023 through a prophetical lens. Okay, because everything that we do, we have to look through the scriptures. All right. Right, Yahweh Shah said to watch and pray. All right. So anything that we're watching for, we have to see if it lines up with the scriptures. Okay. So as you can see here, Dmitry Medvedev, right? And the Spirit got me to do it today. I think it came out yesterday. All right. He's a Russian government official, deputy chair of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, and he was the president of Russia between the years of 2008 to 2012. Okay. And just to throw that out there too, this is how you know they Edomites, because they still do that democracy. President goes back to a so-called democratic nation, and he was in office for 4 years. Who else does that 4-year, BS, right? Babylon the Great. Anyway, this is point. All right, so on December 26th, he said on the New Year's Eve, everybody's into making predictions. All right, because he's talking about financial analysts, right? So-called religious fanatics, things of that nature, right? He said many come up with futuristic hypotheses as if being to single out wildest and even most absurd ones, right? And I'm just saying that it's almost in point of like he's trying to say people come up with so-called conspiracy theories or something, because if people are a hypothesis is something you make think an outcome is going to happen based on an observation in the future, right? So if they're saying, oh, that's not going to happen, that's not going to happen, you know what I mean? But the funny thing is, when we go into these 10 things that he's talking about, is on the same level, because when you look up Elon Musk and his comment or rebuttal to it, he called it wild and absurd. But then it goes on to say, here's our humble contribution. What can happen in 2023? Now, the fact that he said our lets you know that everything that comes in the is already orchestrated, premeditated, things of that nature. Let's get some scriptures for that. All right, I got one. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 64 and 6. It says, they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. See, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. You see, so it's a confederate, man. It's a confederate, all right? And they come together, all right, to try to bring out their agendas, okay? Let's see if I can do another one. And a lot of these things are going to happen, but we know through the scriptures, right, because we're looking at it through a biblical lens, it's not going to fulfill in its entirety. This is the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 22, and it reads, of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Straits means in a difficult position. And who is going to be the fullness of his sufficiency? The wicked, all right, the border of wickedness. Esau, Edom, so-called Caucasian race, with their chief tribe, Amalek, the Amalekites. all right, the 48ers, all right, the small hats. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him, all right. And when you go into Obadiah, it says that the nations that were confederate with thee have deceived thee, because a lot of these people, especially of their own house, meaning Edomites of their own, was going to go against other Edomites. Other nations are going to go against the people that rule, which are Edomites. Should I say your left-hand Luciferians, which are your international banking families, your Rothschilds or things of that nature. These people that own these central that is trying to push this great reset, because that has to happen in order to get more control over the world, according to their eyes. All right, so let's go now back to the Twitter feed. Okay. And then it's going to read, let me make sure because it just looked like it was blacked out. Okay, everything is good. Right, right, right. So watch this. Pay attention. Watch this, right? So the first one, oil price will rise to $150 a barrel, and gas price will top $5 per 1 cubic meters. All right. So when we was back in what, April, May, June, July, I want to say it went up to like one around there. All right. And a lot of places hit $5. I know right here it hit for premium more than $5, man. $5, 15 cents, 19 cents, things of that nature. All right. So all of this low gas prices, people that have the gatekeepers, so to speak, they're making these predictions because not only are they analyzing, all right, but they are getting what's about to come, and they're trying to put themselves in a better position in this new world order. You see what I'm saying? Because it's going to be, a one world government, so to speak. All right, because everybody's going to be on the same playing field because America's going to crash. All right. Two, the UK will join the EU because remember Brexit, right? Because of their disdain with the European Union, which is another prophecy in the book of Daniel, talking about the 10 toes, which would be your European Union, your nations, the iron and the clay, on how the iron and the clay do not mix with each other. You see what I'm saying? Your strong economic countries versus your weak economic countries, and they're trying to mesh, but it can't mesh, like iron and clay can't mesh, right? So they're saying that he's saying, predicting, of course, and remember, I'm not saying that all this is going to happen. All I'm saying is that these are certain things that he's coming up with, and he's at a higher level, especially if you make it to the president of any country, right? Remember, you had like in America, a little girl, right? She proved, and they put on the news and everything, that like 95% of all presidents of the United States since its inception, right, dated somehow. And we all know, so like we're gonna go back to that you gotta be a part of their secret societies anyway. You see what I'm saying? All the presidents, are in that fraternal order. You know what I'm talking about. All right. So what going to happen if the UK rejoins the EU, according to Medvedev? The EU will collapse after the UK's return. Euro will drop out of use as the former EU currency. See, and they want that to happen. So watch this, right? The European Union is a union of states or countries that is all supposed to be backing up each other economically. All right, to be like a conglomerate, a powerhouse, so to speak. All right, the UK felt like they was probably being either bullied or, you know, uh, uh, not thought about, not considered, and they exited. Like the EU and the treaties and things didn't benefit or favor the UK. Now the UK, after having an actual record of not being in the EU, they're seeing that it's hurting them even more economically not to be backed or connected to conglomerate or powerhouse. All right. But as the UK tries to go back in, all right, there's going to be dissonance. So talked about Daniel 2. We might as well get Daniel 2 real quick. I want to get Daniel 2 real quick, talking about the dream, right? The king's dream, the interpretation. See this? See? And they already break it down perfectly, right? Babylon was the first kingdom, right? The second was Media and Persia. The third was Greece, and the fourth was Rome, right? And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, right? For Daniel chapter 2, verse 40, Salakia. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise, which they did in their military force in the ancient world. Verse 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with the miry clay. You see? Uh, verse 42, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. You see what I'm saying? So you have, your poor countries, so to speak, like your Spain, right? Your Portugal, your Greece, right? And a couple of others. And then you got your strong ones like the UK, Germany, right? France, you see, so on and so forth. All right. So the European Union is divided countries that come together, all right, which is in part the same thing with NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, all right, as far as the beast. You see what I'm saying? Uh, and they're not getting along, which is what he's saying on how they're going to collapse. You see? Verse 43, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with the miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. You see? And then it talks about when Yahushua comes, destroy all of the other kingdoms and take their crowns. All right. So now going back, all right, it's very possible. You see what I'm saying? According to the scriptures, because the EU is already divided. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to come together. All right. Let's go to not verse 4. His fourth prediction. It says Poland and Hungary will occupy western regions of the formerly existing Ukraine. You know why that's happening? I don't know. Now, if I'm not mistaken, these countries are part of NATO. Yeah, Poland, I know for sure. I don't know about Hungary. So they're saying that they will occupy it, which also shows that because you American troops are already, I know that for a fact, is in Poland. All right. I don't know about Hungary. And they're over there pretending to be as if they're part of these countries or whatever while they're fighting Russians. So instead of it looking like America's is fighting Russians, it's like Polish and Huns, fighting them in Ukraine, so on and so forth. All right, which is showing you that there's basically going to be an increase of wars and rumors of wars. All right, because how is two countries going to occupy, all right, Ukraine, and for what purpose? Right, to try to stop Russia from, uh, encompassing the whole Ukraine. Verse 5. Verse 5. Top prediction 5. The Fourth Reich, or reign in German, right, will be created, encompassing the territory of German satellites, i.e., Poland, the Baltic states, uh, Czechia, Slovakia, the Kiev Republic, and other outcasts. And that's crazy because they even said Poland, which supposedly is a satellite of Germany, but yet Poland, according to him, is going to be existing in Ukraine. All right. So then that makes you wonder now who is behind, the German war agenda. right? Prediction 6, war will break out between France and the Fourth Reich. Europe will be divided. Poland reportioned in the process. Now, watch this, right? Why would France and Germany be fighting? I just seen something on the news today. Macron, if I can remember the title, let me just type in Macron Biden, see if it comes up. No, it's not. It was something on the lines of Macron saying we should not depend on US. Something along those lines. Yeah, yeah. So this was 6 days ago. Here we go. So hey, shalom, shalom. Yabba Shem Yahshua Barakatam to everybody tuning in, man. Lord willing, is edifying. Just now seeing the chats. All right, so look at this. This came out December 22nd, 2022, the year of Yahweh Shem Yahushua turning up. And it reads, French president says Europe should limit dependence on U.S. for security. Europe needs to gain more technology and defense capabilities, including from the U.S. So isn't basically talks of almost in a seditionary talking point, right? Because when we go into Revelation, the beast that's riding the whore that's riding the beast. So the great whore, the mother of harlots, is Mystery Babylon, which is America. America uses the European Union and NATO, all right, um, for to basically to prop America, right? As you know, America uses their military and political dominance, all right, with the backing of them by making them do dirty work. So if Europe now follows along the talking points of Macron, right, what would happen? All right, the U.S. would be weakened through their allies uh, financially, right, and other enemies can realize that and basically a threat to um, the world dominance of America. All right, and this also could be going with this scripture. Let's show this right quick. Go to the book of Revelation, might as well. Revelation chapter 17, verse 16, and it reads, And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, see, the 10 horns and toes is the same thing as the EU. All right, the EU or the power is the power. All right, the European Union is the power that is upon NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. These shall hate the whore. Who's the whore? America, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So this could definitely be a straw that could help break the camel's back, so to speak. All right, as they come into the mindset of hating America because they're coming to realize, European Edomites, that we uh, don't like these stout Edomites, right? The scriptures say he was more stout than his fellows, because Americans look at themselves with the big chest, right? The bird chest, and then we don't need to depend on them no more. And they could do something to show their pridefulness, and Europe is like, we all together. We might as well just attack them, and Russia will be the first one to attack, and they're all going to follow behind. All right. So it might not seem right now, but we gotta watch and pray to see how it's gonna go down. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. So watch this, right? Prediction 7. Well, I'll finish it. So, yeah, war will break out between France and the Fourth Reich, Germany. So that means that it seems that Germany would be a puppet for America. You see what I'm saying? A puppet for America. Because as we put it in together, we know America's in Poland. Poland is a satellite of the Fourth Reich, which is Germany. You see what I'm saying? They're the ones that's occupying Ukraine. Who else would want to occupy Ukraine while Russia is trying to take over Ukraine? Nothing but America, man. All right, because America is looking at Russia as a threat regarding their world order. All right, Europe will be divided, which that goes back into Daniel 2 with the 10 toes and then being divided, right? Poland cautioned in the process. Prediction 7. Northern Ireland will separate from the UK and join the Republic in Ireland. More division in the European Union. Slovakia, I don't know why it's doing that, bro. All right. This is the big one right here. Prediction 8. Civil war will break out in the US. California and Texas becoming independent states as a result. Because when you look into it, California has, I think, it's funny that he said 8, because I want to say it's the eighth uh, largest economy. California itself has the eighth largest economy in the world, like it's its own country. So they technically not need anybody else and could succeed and survive, so to speak, right? And Texas has been trying to do that since its inception. It's the Lone Star State, right? But watch, Texas and Mexico will form an allied state. That's something to ponder on, right? Elon Musk will win the presidential election in a number of states, which, after the new civil wars end, will have been given to the GOP. Now, notice he had predictions for 2023, but the election ain't until 2024. So I was kind of wondering why he threw that in there. But Elon Musk is kind of looking like a false Christ, as the scriptures say, for false prophets and false anointed shall rise, man. And a lot of these people, because of his money, how much money he has, supposedly at one time the richest man in the world, which is false. But and the whole technological innovator, you know what I mean? People look up to that and all that as like he's for the people. But anyway, the point: civil war will break out in the U.S. That is a fact. The scriptures say, "Nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom," and we'll get it right here: civil war, right? What class is one people? Let's do that. Right against another. Lazarus. Okay, that real quick. Second Ezra chapter 13, verse 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. All right. So civil war, two realms, your left versus your right, right? Your higher class versus your lower class, so on and so forth. All right. We're almost done, and we're gonna close it out. Prediction 9. All the largest stock markets and financial activity will leave the US and Europe and move to Asia, which means a financial crash, a crash. All right. And yeah, we'll get that in. We want that in. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12. I think that one would suffice. So this is Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 3, and it reads, "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened." All right. So I brought this out because the CEOs and the entrepreneurs and the Wall Street brokers, right? The financial and economic analysts and all of that, they're trembling and they're looking what's forward, and it seems to be dark. If you're in the West and all of the money is going east, all right, that's trembling to you, and they can see that. They can see that. So people are finally, well, he's predicting that it's going to come to a head. And this is the point in verse prediction 10. The Bretton Woods system, all right, and that goes back to the fiat currency and, not being backed on, anything and things of that nature. System of monetary management will collapse, leading to the International Monetary Fund and World Bank to crash. Now, notice these are central banks, and they control other banks. They bail out other banks. So if they crash, everything else that's under them crash with it. Euro and dollar will stop circulating, you see, meaning there ain't no cash, all right, as the global reserve currencies. And the scriptures say, people's going to throw out, the gold and silver into the streets. You know what I'm saying? And, basically, for riches won't profit you in the day of the Lord, right? So watch this though. Digital fiat, and fiat really go to fake. You see what I'm saying? Because what we have, the USD is a fiat currency. It's not backed on anything. It's just a fake currency. It's currency that because they said it and you trust, all right, that it's money. So this still digital fiat currencies is nothing but central bank digital currencies. Okay, it says will be actively used instead. All right. So now, but for 2023, I really have through the spirit that speak as a man that's going to come to pass. And the phone had to chime on that one. And then the funny thing is, right after this, right, that's how you know they're Edomites, right? Without even knowing what they're really saying. All right. Season's greetings to you all, Anglo-Saxon friends, and their happily oinking piglets. You see what I'm saying? So one, he's showing you that so-called white people are piglets, but he don't because they like to refer themselves as Anglo-Saxon. But Anglo-Saxon goes back to sons of Isaac, all right, which we are, all right. That's another topic for another day, all right. So that's the main point. There's a lot in there. There's a lot in there. You see what I'm saying? And there's a lot that's about to come down the pipeline. All right, so we all got to be prepared. Central bank digital currencies, you see what I'm saying? All of this type of thing that's going on. All right, a lot of people's predicting because it's all orchestrated, and it's really orchestrated through the left-hand side of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. All right, so Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. Until the next time, Kwam Yasharala, Baba Bo, Shalom, Laha, Allah, Shalom.